I'm going to give you an update on the coal stove. I've had it running now for 3 months, and I'll say what I've done from start to finish. Alright. Now, I ended up paying $250 for this, and it definitely looks a lot better than $250, but I didn't get it in this condition. The motors, everything in it worked, and the guy was a really, really cool guy, but he did say there was no rust. Unfortunately, when I got it, there was a lot of rust. Matter of fact, it was pitting, because that's just dirt. It was pitting right in through here, on the other side and stuff. There's a lot of dust on it still. I ended up bringing it home, putting it on the wire wheel, cleaning it all up. Ended up sanding it in some spots, wire wheel, you name it. Brought it back to the metal, and I sprayed it. I was kind of skeptical about this, but this is what I used. It is 1200 degree Krylon, and no discolor whatsoever. Now, it's not a hard paint, it's a little soft, especially when it's hot. Now, after I did paint it, I did let it set out for a week outside in the sun and whatnot. Make sure it was all dry before I brought it in, and then I, of course, here it is. But anyhow, brought it in. Go back a little bit. This is a very crucial part. You have to have something that's fireproof before you put a wood stove, wood pellet, coal, you name it. Always have something to where you're not going to catch your damn house on fire. I've seen a lot of people, they end up putting it in there, and they're on hardwood floors like this, and it's like, man, you end up burning your house down. Little hot ambers, you pull this open, something pops out, lands on the floor, you don't notice it. Next thing you know, you're on the news with nothing. You own nothing because everything got burnt. You don't want that. So I ended up getting this nice little designed Chicago style brick. Underneath that, 1/4 inch thick, like a concrete type thing they put for flooring and stuff. I put that underneath it, so it's roughly about that thick of stuff. Now, I did use just a cheap board right here for now, but I'm not worried about that. So it's definitely it's good. You can go thicker, you can go a full thick brick, whatever you want to do. You just want to make it safe for you and your family, or just you, depending. But put that down. Ended up bringing this thing in here, set it down, cutting the stovepipe or chimney. Ended up running that all the way up. This is where I screwed up. Ended up running it out here, and as you see, it was supposed to be down here, but I had to cut more up there. What happened was I didn't level it off. Got to level it off. Put your level this way, then your level this way to make sure it's 100%. Alright, so got that all taken care of. Trying to think of the next thing. And another thing is, when you're picking these things up, don't grab it by the hopper like I did. The guy put all new fresh gaskets in it a year prior before selling it to me, and I was happy about that. I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, don't have to change the gaskets. Well, from picking up this hopper, it's real thin sheet metal, see, and what it did is it pulled that gasket out of it, and what happened was that fire burnt back. I got to be careful with my phone, it'll shut off if it gets too hot. That fire burnt way back in there, and it was going up into the hopper. Now, that was a big mistake, because your hopper will catch on fire. I ended up throwing some water down in there, and you could hear the sizzling and the cracking and whatnot. And I was all here for it to make sure everything was going good, so it's not like I was just went to work and said, you know, screw it. I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. I ended up taking the hopper completely off, which is not a big deal. It's 2 screws going inside, repounding the metal out because it did warp it, put new gasket in, and it's been 100% ever since. So the gasket is definitely a main concern on any kind of a stove. Make sure that's sealed. Another thing is to make sure your lid has a good seal too, especially when you're putting coal in. A lot of times you'll dump the coal in, you'll get some pieces like that, won't notice it, and boom, it's like, oh, it's not sealed. So you gotta make sure that you get a nice good seal. This is something you definitely want to get a coal stove. Also a ring for starting. Okay, now this right here, a lot of stuff is just temporary. This came with the stove, the guy had it extra. See, what this stove has is a gravity hole in the top for ductwork, and it's a pretty stove, so I didn't want to, I just threw that on there, and I didn't want to put just a metal plate over top of it, so I'm utilizing that as going out to my living room, and this sprays right up upstairs in the kitchen, the dining room, and the whole house stays nice and warm with this. I think this is an 80,000 BTU. It's triple what my wood pellet stove put out. I'm really happy with it. So another thing I had to do with this stove was had to replace the glass. I was worried about that. Figured glass like that's going to have to cost around $450. I was wrong. It was $125, $135, and I was golden. I called up, says I'll be down, sent the wife down actually. She picked it up, brought it back, and I put that in right after I got done painting it. And looks good. Looks good. It's even got the Alaska thing there. I was pretty happy about that. Now, another thing I was really worried about was the chimney. I had no clue what I was getting into when I was doing this. Let me tell you something. The chimney itself can cost you anywhere from $1,500 to $5,500 easily, depending on which way you go. To hire somebody to come in and do it, oh, it's going to kill you. A lot of people's just been doing the normal chimney straight up out, but here's the problem. With coal stoves, they have like an acid or something in it that'll eat away the metal, so you can't use the metal. You can't use metal on the outside. The inside, I told you'd be all right as long as you use the black stuff. Don't use ductwork like this for your chimney. All right, it'll eat it away in a matter of months. That's what I was told. I don't know. Don't kill me. So I went and I just spent what was like $3 more just for the black stuff. So I ended up going this route on the inside. And to do it right on the outside, you have to use stainless steel. And it has to be the insulated, double-walled, expensive shit. It's Tractor Supply has it for $100. I think it's a 3 or 4 foot section. It's called triple wall. But even at that, you're looking, Jesus, $1,300, $1,400, and $2,000, all depending on how tall you want your chimney. You need to have a chimney go all the way up, because what you're looking for is that updraft. That the air's got to pull up once your stove gets hot. You have to have an updraft. You don't want your hot, cold stuff like that in the gases to come out in your living room. Okay, so you have to have a decent size. It's got to be, I think, above the pitch of your roof or something. That way the air can blow across and pull the updraft. So I was worried. I was like, man, you could have thousands of dollars just in the chimney. You could have twice as much in the chimney as what you do your stove. Even if you bought the best stove on the market, it's crazy. Anywhere from $100 for a section to $350. I was told to this one guy. He goes, "Oh, we don't deal with the cheap stainless. We use only the best." I'm like, "Geez, well, I really want the best. I don't want to replace it within 2 or 3 years. I'm going to spend all that money." Then my buddy Zach came up to me. He says, "Hey, you ever hear of a power vent?" I'm like, "No." So I did some researching, and it was the best way that I could ever do it. That right there is a power vent. Much like a wood pellet stove, it forces the air out, so you don't need an updraft. This is another crucial part. It has to be stainless steel. It can't be metal. That unit right there, I believe, runs $1,500. I got that one used for $175. I couldn't complain. I plugged it in, seen it worked. I was good to go. Now this one is necked down to a 4-inch with a 6-inch, but it has enough pull. I even have this little flapper here turned down. You don't want to go on full blast. That right there just pretty much regulates how much air. And it pulls, as you seen at the fire earlier, it's definitely pulling the air out more than enough. Little noisy. Now there's little pieces of metal out there, sometimes they'll cling and clang or whatever. You just gotta work with it. You might have to manipulate the metal a little bit. Some gaskets and stuff, one of them I guess, go bad, and then it'll start clinging after a while. And it's like riding an old pickup when you're going down the road. You hear that ting, cling, 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 you know, you just want to get rid of that noise. Well, I got mine to where it runs nice and smooth. Now this whole wood thing, yeah, this is redneck at its finest. But something went through the window. I'm not going to say it was me or the wife. It was me. But ended up replacing the window with plexiglass. And I was like, you know what, let's remove the window. Put this board here, put the window to the side for right now, and just go from there. I'm not going to cut a hole through the glass because it was glass up top, but it was the plexiglass down at the bottom. You know, so I was like, well, we'll just do this, just for temporary, see how it works. And I'm more than pleased with it. I mean, this will last a lifetime, but we're remodeling the house, so this is just temporary. Now this, you have to have it double wall, stainless, whatever. You see that? That's my wrist right on it. It's just warm to the touch. Now, I come here and do that, I'd end up with 3rd-degree burns. It would burn me pretty bad. So, that is very crucial. That is the reason why you want that kind of double wall. You know, to stop any kind of heat to burn down your house or anything. You know, this is already set up pretty high. I'm actually sweating right now. Yeah, that right there was a really nice upgrade. So you don't need a full chimney. As long as you got a power vent to pull those gases out, you know, try to face it where you get the most wind or whatever. Face it away from the wind. That way it's not blowing into the wind and then just causing some kind of gas pocket around your house and up seeping through your house and making you sick. Alright, so I ended up going to Lowe's and also getting one of these. You know, that's like your master switch. You could turn everything off just by one click. Got my power vent plugged into that. I've got the air from that one. That's the normal air for this. Then I got the feeder. So that's 3 plugs taken up. Then of course the 4th one on this stupid little thing. But hey, it works. It's not the best looking, but it works. I'm pretty pleased with it. So that's how I went about doing it. It's not the prettiest, but she is solid. Everything's leveled, burning, beautiful, beautiful flame. Look at that. Oof. Gotta burn my phone up. Oh, you can see that. Got that overspray. Look at that. Oh, that runs. Yeah, I was pretty pissed off about that after I did that. But kind of in a hurry. But, yeah, she runs pretty good. Another thing is, get yourself one of these. I have this right next to the pellet stove. Anything goes off, then I know. You know, I know that something's going wrong here. You know, the main thing is keep the house warm, but you want to keep the house safe. You don't want people dying. Not over stupid mistakes. Do the floor properly. Do your chimney properly, and make sure everything's sealed. You know, nobody wants to see people dead over just trying to heat your family. No matter how tight money gets you, I mean, it's crucial. I mean, I am not a rich guy. Otherwise, I would have went out and bought a brand new one of these. You know, I didn't have the money to buy a brand new one of these. I had to bargain shop. I had to bargain shop for pretty much everything on here. And $250 in that. I have 130, say 130 in the glass. $20 in the gaskets for that stupid hopper. That was my mistake. I don't know, shit. $50 into the metal chimney parts, and that was $175. It all comes down to a lot of money. Now if I were to buy this all brand new, you know, then oof, I'd have thousands in it. So. And I didn't make out too bad though. $250 for one of these is, yeah, it's unheard of. It's really unheard of. I was really thankful. The guy was down to earth, helped me out with everything, told me exactly how to go about doing it. He said he helped me out, get me chimney parts and stuff if I needed it. I was like, no, he already did way too much. But anyhow, I'm really, really happy with this, and she burns nice. That's another thing you want to get, just to keep an eye on it. You know, that where it says optimal level and stuff. I think this is mainly for a wood stove. You know, so I wouldn't really go by that. I just keep it on there to just see how hot it gets, just the chimney itself. Now I do have like a baffle piece that goes from here to there. It's like a big square. I forget the technical name for it, but it's got a fan in the back, and it utilizes the heat off of the chimney and puts it back in the house rather than all that hot temperature going straight outside. You know, and I also help out the longevity of your power vent. Now there's the older power vents. They have an oiling bearing where you got to get this real expensive oil and oil it constantly. So try to find one that you don't have to, unless you get one for really, really cheap, because I think that oil is $20 to $50 for a little bottle, and you got to oil it often. So fortunately I got one that's you don't have to oil. I'm really pleased with it. I forget the names of this, and this one was actually Alaskan, the same as my stove, but I forget the name, what the main company, Leisure maybe, that makes those. Just do power vent and see what you come up with. But I was pretty astonished when I found that, or just go on Craigslist or Let Go app or anything like that, Facebook, and search out, because you never know, you might get find a good deal like that and spend $1,500 for one, and you could pay $175 or $300. Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's stainless. They should last a nice bit of time. And this is where I actually laid it over at the spring. But yeah, it's just an update exactly what I did. And you can see a lot of my tools are still over there. I was cutting wood in here. It's really dusty everywhere. I was cutting wood in front of this. My wife was kind of pissed off about it. I got dust all over to the house. I should have used my 5-car garage, but I was like, it won't be that much of a deal. Well, I got tools everywhere and sawdust everywhere. So, yeah, that's my update. Hopefully I can help somebody, because my main thing was, when that was burning in the back, I couldn't find any information why it would be burning in the back. I couldn't get nothing. Everything I Googled or whatnot, always like, you know, check this, check that. Some of them said the gaskets. I was like, well, the guy already put new gaskets on it. I didn't type anything up. I was just going by what other people were saying and reading, you know, is it burning back too far? But nobody ever gave me a picture of it burning back too far. And I was like, man, you know, what's going on here? But what I mean by burning back too far, I think I already went over this, but you can see it went beyond where it's burning at now. It burnt farther back in there, and it was burning up into the hopper. And that is a big no-no. You want your fire exactly where it's at right now. You want it way above that. You know, the camera, if I look on my phone, it looks like it's burning back really far, but it's not. I gotta go 2 to 3 inches away from the back wall part. That's about how far it's burning down, and that's what you want. But this is first time. I did have a wood pellet stove. Love the wood pellet stove. Lasted 7 years, but it was getting tired, and my house is really old, and I wanted something that I could take my shirt off, walk around the house, and not be bundled up on a 0-degree day. I got tired of that. 50 degrees. Wood pellet stove, like I said, it was awesome. Lasted a long time. I couldn't complain, but I'm more happier with this. Pound for pound, coal's the way to go. I did a price, how much my wood pellet stove versus this, and this is actually cheaper. The pea coal or rice coal, that's what I'm using. The rice coal is actually cheaper. I go through a roughly maybe a bag a day on a medium setting with this stove. Now with wood pellets, I would go through a bag a day on a low setting, a bag and a half a day on a high setting, and it wouldn't even put half the BTUs. So you're getting double the heat for damn near the same price. It's a win-win. You know, rice coal all day long, but the bags are heavy, and a lot of times you'll get, you go to Lowe's or something like that, and you get, you know, your rice coal. A lot of times it's wet. So our local, we go like to shop local, to support the local community, and the guy that we deal with is Wolves, and his coal in a bag, it's actually a 50-pound bag, not a 40-pound bag. It comes in like a burlap sack, and it's dry. It's super dry. That's the way I like it. So a lot of times the coal is always wet, and it rusts these hoppers out so damn quick. Within a couple of years, you're replacing a hopper, and they're $200 to $400. So try to stay away from the wet coal or let it dry out. The sad thing about that is when you're using a coal, it's because it's cold outside, and you leave it outside, it freezes and ices up. And you bring it inside, and you're dripping that black water through here, and it sucks. Like right there's some of it. I get a lot of it all over here. We mop it and stuff. It's got dust and stuff all over it. Yeah, another thing about installing this, you want to make sure you got enough room to move around. You don't want to get it up close. For one thing, the heat. You don't want to get anything too hot and end up burning something. You see, you got curtains here, but I mean it's cool over here. I mean, you know, you can damn near touch it where it gets hot. But you want to be able to pick your bag up, you know, set it on the side here, pull that off. You want to have room to move. Any further back, and you're crammed. You want to give yourself a foot, couple feet of room to move around. Unless you're super fat, then you're gonna have to give yourself a couple yards, depending. So, but yeah, that's about basically it. Hopefully, I covered everything. If not, I'm gonna look like an ass. But yeah.